Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Tea Time with Bunky. Welcome to Tea Time with Bunky. Tonight, my special guest, Miss Erinn Gilmore. I don't know if she want to be called Erinn Danielle, but we'll talk about that in a minute. First, I would like to thank all my Tea Time with Bunky followers and subscribers. Next month will be 2 years. I am hyped. It just hit me. There's a bunch of things that just hit me. But I would like to thank you all who have been on this journey with me from the beginning, to all my new subscribers and followers. Hey, Sharon, everybody, I want to thank you for taking this journey with me. Thank you for telling a friend and telling a friend, following, subscribing. Make sure you tell people about Tea Time with Bunky, the place where all conversations I had, the place where all conversations I had. Shout out to the village, the villagers. There's so many. I can't even name them all. There's so many, but you know who you are. I'm slowly trying to get them on the show. I keep forgetting to thank DJ Lisa Love. I want to thank her, a special shout out to her, because when Tea Time was starting out, I was having all these technical difficulties, which I still kind of have now, but she was my video person. Like, she would come over and help me, and I call her all kinds of times a day. She would be there for me. So a special thank you to her. People that don't know, people that know the show now, know that on Thursday nights you can also catch me on Zeno FM. So download Zeno FM. It's free app. On Thursday nights at 7 o'clock, you can find me on LLR Ohio Radio, LLR Ohio, Sasquatch Boot Hill Radio, and Cuzzo FM Radio. And on Friday, 8:30 a.m., you can catch me on Wapter Music Radio, Culture Shock Radio, and Southern Soul Gold Radio. So make sure you tune in, download those apps, make sure you follow, subscribe to those sites. My guest just popped there. There she goes. She keep going in and out. But first, before I bring my guest in, before I bring it in, I don't know. It was just led on me. This has nothing to do with the show, but it kind of does, but it doesn't. It's just like everybody's going through something right now. Silently. People are going through things silently, and they're not saying anything to people, but people are grieving and going through a difficult time. So just pray for everybody. It was just led for me to do that. Say that I can say it. I can do what I want. It's my show. So without further ado, we're going to bring in Miss Erinn. Oh my God. I keep hitting the wrong. Well, there you go. Personality. Wait. This mess gonna go off. There we go. Hi.
Hello. How are you?
I am great. How are you?
Good.
Welcome to time, your second time.
Oh yeah, that's true.
To know that the first time you were on, I had the cast of She Ain't You.
Yep.
Which is a short film that we were in together from Steph Lilla Productions.
Yeah, shout out to her.
Shout out to Steph. You sound kind of low, far away.
Am I?
Yeah.
Hold on. How about now?
I can hear you. You look good. You look beautiful.
I know, we're matching. Thank you.
Oh, well, no, you got on a nice shirt. I got on a sweatshirt. So. Well, welcome to Tea Time, Erinn.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Am I yelling now? I feel like I'm yelling.
No, you're absolutely
echoing in my room, so maybe
that could be it. The title of tonight's show is Purpose Over Plan.
Yep.
And we're going to get into that. But tell everybody a little bit about you. First of all, do you want to be called by your government name?
I don't know. Everybody calls me Erinn, E.G., Erinn Danielle. I have a whole bunch of names. I don't mind. They're all me. So It's not like any of them are derogatory or anything like that. So I really don't mind. Erinn Gilmore, people know me as.
Right.
E.G. Doesn't matter.
Okay. I just didn't want to be disrespectful.
Actually, I just got casted in Shakespeare. So please approach thee as thou. And your grace and queen, all that kind of stuff. That would be kind of cool. But
congratulations.
Let me live like that until May 9th, the opening day, and then you guys can shut it down.
And where's the play? Where is it?
It's going to be at Sullivan.
Oh, okay.
It's going to be an outside play, this one, because it's Shakespeare. So they have a whole garden and stuff, and it's going to be out in the garden, which I think is going to be super dope. You know, as give or take if it's rain or not, but I
Oh,
think it's still
wow.
going to be super dope.
Well, yeah, give or take if it's raining. Let me put that down there. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
okay, a little bit about you.
I don't know. I'm EG. I'm from Fallsburg. I grew up with your sons. You know, they still come to my house, eat my food, and talk mad smack. Um, I first, I graduated from Fallsburg. I first went to school to be an athletic director. One day I just chose, I didn't feel like doing that anymore. I love sports, but I don't think that that was like my actual purpose of just solely doing that. As a young child, I always wanted to do like dance and like hip hop and stuff. My parents at the time, they couldn't really put me in that. And plus there wasn't really much offered aside from like what was going on in Liberty for me
Mhm.
to like indulge in like creative sides like that. So I kind of just found more of like my outlet into sports, and I played basketball, traveling basketball.
And you
But
were a good athlete too. You were a good
yeah,
athlete.
fast forward, I've worked many jobs. I feel like I'm a very personable person. You know, I've worked with individuals who had dual diagnosis of um, drug addiction plus mental health. And then I also worked with you with individuals with developmental disabilities. Um, I also did that in California at one point when I needed a job, but I knew that that's something that I like to do. And I'm very, I care, I'm compassionate. So it was easy to work in that. I've worked in radio. I've worked in film. Um, I've done a lot. I travel. I love to travel. I'm a huge, just
Well,
kind of like, I don't know. I like to travel and I like to meet natives. So I'm a little bit of different kind of a traveler, than your actual like tourist. I like to go where they say, "Oh, that's dangerous." Okay, you know what I mean. Well, I go do it anyway, and it's
go to where
actually the time
it's
of
a
my
risk.
life. But I don't know. That's a little bit about me right now. I work in the guidance office at Fallsburg. I have a daughter. Her name is Shiloh. She's super dope, super
Okay.
cute.
Okay, so wait, hold that thought. Okay. So you talked about all of your many jobs. Um, you talked about your baby girl.
Mhm.
Now, you moved. Why did you move to California?
Well,
Because that's totally across from New York to California, cross country. What made you do that?
um, okay, so I want to say we were 21. Um, Anna Stein, she's one of my really closest friends. I always wanted to go to California for some reason. I've never been there, but I always wanted to go. Ironically, one of my girlfriends, Anna, she had hit me up because she was moving out west. And this was right before I got the job at New Hope. And she hit me up and she was like, "Hey, like, let's go out there, let's road trip, do all this kind of stuff." At the time, I really was not confident in myself. I was in a relationship at the time. I went to some school, you know what I mean? But I never had that real separation from anybody, especially like my boyfriend at the time. And I just kind of was like, "No, well, I'm getting my own apartment. I have this job." Like, I felt like an adult, you know what I mean? I was like, I got this job, this
At
full-time job
21.
coming. I got my own car. Like, I didn't want to mess anything up. So fast forward a little bit down the line, uh, I started dating somebody new. Him and I broke up, and during our relationship, I had brought up the fact of like, "Hey, I kind of like feel like my heart is out in Cali. Like, there's something in California. Like, we should maybe go." Obviously, we went our separate ways. We had like different views of what we should be doing with our lives, and so when him and I broke up, I was really in a dark area because I felt like I didn't have a purpose. And I'm not
Mhm.
saying it's from him, but I'm saying like in
Right.
general, like I just, as a human, I was like, I'm lost. I don't know what to do. I don't know where to go. I had lived on my own for 6 years, and here I am moving back into my house with my parents. You know what I mean? So like my confidence level was like super low.
So this was
And
after Cali. Now,
no, this
when
is
you went to,
before California. You asked me how I got to Cali, right?
oh, so we didn't get to Cali yet.
No, you asked me. I'm telling you the story
Yeah.
because it's purpose over plan. So I'm telling you,
Right. It's okay. Okay. Go
I had a
ahead. Go ahead.
plan in the beginning. It didn't work out, right? Had
Okay.
a plan with, such and such that didn't work out. So now this is where it worked out. This is what
Oh,
this is what I'm leading up to. I got you, bunk.
okay.
So after him and I broke up, like I one day woke up and I was like, I'm going to California. Like I went out there a couple times to visit Anna. We road tripped throughout California. And I was just like, I'm going to do it. So I woke up and I told my parents, I was like, by the way, I'm selling everything in my storage unit and I'm moving to California in a month. So I don't know how y'all feel about that. That's literally how the conversation went because I didn't know how to break it to them. But I was like, I don't know how y'all feel about that, but just know like I'm leaving. So they were like, okay, you know what I mean? Like that's just crazy. My one of my good friends, she passed away, Shannon DeGraw. I hit up Shannon. We chunked up some change. We packed up my SI, my Honda SI 2-door coupe. And October 2nd, we were like deuces. And I just kind of sold my entire apartment. I got rid of a lot of clothes. I did keep a storage unit here of some things that were sentimental to me, but I got in my car. We got to Pennsylvania. And I looked at her. I said, "Yo, we right here. Like, should I turn around?" And it was like, "Okay, let's just try and get to Ohio." Once we got to Ohio, I was like, "I'm gone." You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And it was just from there on. We had an amazing road trip, one of the best times of my entire life. I got to LA and I felt free. Like I felt like Sullivan County had this bondage over me, which is odd, but even though it's home, I felt like it was like this looming
Vacuum.
cycle of like things that I wasn't accomplishing like within. So that's how I got to California. It was all that backstory, and it led me to my purpose of getting over there to discover who I was as a person.
And while you were out there, though, you did you have come up with your clothing line, Gifted Apparel, out there? Like I saw you were involved in a lot. Well, I heard.
Yeah. So in
Yeah,
high school, actually, Randy, my cousin, RG,
mm-hmm.
him and I, we had gotten best dressed, but we used to talk all the time about how we should have our own clothing brand, like the Gilmore, you know what I mean? Because we both love fashion. So that's been sitting on my heart since I would say I was like 14, 15. I got to California, and it wasn't until I moved to Sacramento that I was just like, I have this idea. Even though I had the idea, but I had a more spectacular idea, which I'm still working on, you know what I mean? But I'm getting there. I got my sweaters outside, and shout out to Lisa Love because she's actually about to help me with my clothing brand. So, yeah. So no, I didn't. I came up with the word gifted in Sacramento because it reminded me like one day I was journaling, and it reminded me like, Erinn, you have all these gifts. Imagine how many people in the world have gifts that they don't
Tap into.
tap into because we're too busy focused on all the other stimuli that comes along with life, right?
Right.
So like I genuinely feel like God puts on our heart and puts in our soul when we're younger, like this is who you are, these are the gifts. And then he gives us free will, right? So we go out into the world, and then we're just injected with all like negative or positive or neutral things, and they change our mind. And then there's just such an abundance of careers, there's such an abundance of things that we can do that we get distracted from who was deep down within,
Right. Totally.
So when people wear my brand, I want them to remember, like, don't forget your gift. Like, you might have a 9-to-5, which I'm not saying anything's wrong with. You might work for a corporate, or you might work for yourself or something, but just always remember, like, you got something was given to you, and to never
you were born with.
Forget that. Yeah.
Exactly. It's totally exactly. I couldn't have said that better. So you went and you did all of that, and I mean, like you were you look like a California girl. Like you look like you was enjoying.
That's because that's where I was supposed to be.
You was like living the life fantastic out there. Um, Now, while you were out there, did you take acting classes and different things like that, or did you always? Because, like I mentioned, we were in this movie, this little short movie together. For people, I'm telling you, y'all need to go see it. She Ain't You, Steph Wheeler Productions. Did you take acting classes? Was that something that you wanted to do, like while you were in Cali?
So when I first landed in LA, ironically, at my very first job interview, I ran into these group of guys who were like we're really still close to now,
Hmm.
and they happened to be like working in film. One was a cameraman. One was he's actually a producer now, and the other was a photographer. So like when I met them, I was like, oh well, I like to take pictures. You know what I'm saying? So like
Hmm.
when they were all hanging out, like I took pictures, and how it made me feel inside was different than how somebody holding up their phone to me and just taking a picture, right? So like I was like, huh. And it kind of like awoke something up inside me. I don't even know if that's a word, awoke, but like it woke something up inside of me. And I was like, that's something that I want to do, but how do I get there?
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And then, obviously God put all these trials and tribulations in front of me to build the character that I need.
Oh yes, always hurdles.
Yeah, because not for nothing, but I lost that. I don't like to say the word lost, but I feel like I lost that in my adolescence, like where I was being wifey, you know what I'm saying? Where I
Hmm.
was doing X, Y, and Z when I was supposed to be a student. I was supposed to be indulging and diving into Erinn, but
That
instead I
wasn't
was
your
giving
journey.
myself to everybody else. You know what I'm
That
saying?
wasn't your journey. Because look, I say that all the time about myself. So that wasn't your journey. You had to go through what you went through to
Yeah,
get you where you are now, so you appreciate it more.
yeah.
That makes
Totally.
any sense.
I thought total
Okay.
sense. Because I do appreciate it more. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
You do.
I
I
have
see
that
it.
confidence, that little bit of oomph, you know?
Mm.
Yeah, I do. But I needed all that. I need to go through like X, Y, and Z heartbreaks. I needed to go through all that so I could focus on me. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like, because I was too focused on everybody else and
Right.
are they getting to where they want to go? And I was never like, Erinn, are you where you want to be?
Right.
I was settling. So no, I never took acting classes, even to this day.
Hmm.
I just kind of think I'm goofy and I just kind of fit in with things, you know what I'm saying? So
Uh-huh.
um I just used to like Jenna Berman, actually, she just recently tagged me on an old post that we did for Jamba Juice back in the day. And I was like, see, I've been doing this for forever. You know what I mean? Just acting like goofy.
Hmm.
So I feel like that kind of plays a part into being able to act is being yourself, but also having different characters. Not that I have different characters in my mind, but you know what I mean? Different characters that you
Okay.
kind of just
Uh-huh. It's all
like,
right to have characters in your head. It's all
okay,
right.
so I have like 10. No, I'm kidding. But no, but yeah, so no, I didn't take any acting classes. I just
Okay.
started doing it.
Okay. So how long were you in California? How long
6
did you live out there? 6 years.
6 years.
Okay. So you were out there doing your thing, starting to live your best life,
Mhm,
and there was a shift
mhm.
in your life, and you ended back up. And I don't want to diss where we live. I mean, because I appreciate it, but I don't this vacuum because a lot of people, as I'm doing this show, realizing that a lot of people have made it, and where we live has made them the people that they are. It helped them to
Right.
be able to integrate into other areas more so if you were in a less diverse community. Like you
Mhm.
could live here. Well, I know when I was growing up, you can live here and move anywhere and be able to fit in because there's some
Very
of
true.
everything here.
And yeah, that's one gem that I always took with me, and I
Hmm.
always explained it to even people out in California,
Hmm.
was that, like certain things I would see character traits in other people, and I'd be like, that's like kind of odd that you'd act like that. But it's not. It's just because that's how they were brought up. You feel me? Like
Right.
here, we were raised around people who had money, people who didn't have money, whether you were black, white, Chinese, Puerto Rican, like anything, like you didn't view people for like their skin color. You didn't view people because of how much money they had in their pocket.
Right.
Everybody mingled. You know what I'm
Everybody.
saying?
Right.
And I feel like everybody mingled with people from Fallsburg too. So shout out to the comments. But I mean,
No
like,
comments.
we were able to, like, you know, go and hang out with people from Monticello, Tri-Valley, Liberty, things like that. Like we were able, that's one thing that I like about home, is that you get to be who the world is. You know what I'm saying? You get to see who the world is. And then when you go out into the world, you're kind of more personable.
Yeah.
You know?
And it's a shock. It's a
Yeah,
shock when you see how other people are and behave, and because you're like, wait a minute. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's some good things about here. There are some good things about here. Okay. Now when you're back home.
Yep.
I know, because I'm not gonna get in your business. I know that you weren't in a really good place mentally. You were really sad. I mean,
when I came back, yes.
Right. And you went through some things, and but now you got a little movie under your belt. You tell people about what you have going on, like your purpose, because your plan didn't match your purpose. Like God had a calling for you, what he wanted you to do, right? Did you ever see yourself as an actress or like a movie production? Because you even helped on the back end of the movie.
Yep, crew.
Which is crazy to me. Like I was like, oh snap! Because for people that don't know, you came in as a walk extra.
Oh yeah, on that
movie, and you didn't have a line originally. You were just a walk extra, and ended up being on the poster. I was like, how did that happen? It was your purpose.
Yeah, so I feel like everywhere I've been in life, I had a plan, and then the plan was always like, whoop, you know what I'm saying? And alley-oop, but you know what I'm saying? I came back and I dunked it. No, I'm kidding. But like,
I was gonna say, what is that? That's basketball lingo. Okay, all right.
Yeah. No, so I feel like, no, I never saw myself per se as like to be somebody, you know, behind the scenes of a movie or even in front of the camera when I was younger. That was never like something that I thought about, but I also enjoyed, you know, like watching, like me and Elena, we used to love watching America's Next Top Model. Like, you know what I mean? Like those kind of things, they would entice me in a way, but I never saw myself as like there. And only because, like, I say that because I never saw myself as good enough. But then when I realized that everybody in the world is good enough to be on TV, I mean, social media kind of like shows that, like, people have their own podcasts, their own TV shows, or their own skits and stuff like that. Like, a lot at the time I was looking at celebrities in this light, when honestly celebrities are the same as us. They just have a different occupation than everybody else. Theirs is just highlighted. Like, imagine if doctors were highlighted, then everybody would be like, oh, I want to be a doctor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But in reality, like, that's how it really is. And I felt like the first time I ever got to taste, like, wow, like, this is what it's like on a movie set, was when I started working at Red Studios in Hollywood. And Red Studios in Hollywood.
Okay.
It actually was where I Love Lucy and the Golden Girls, they all, that's where they used to shoot at. Lucy actually owned the property at first and then sold it later down the line. And
Shout out to all of Lucy.
I was there and I was like working as a barista at the time and helping the operations manager like as his like assistant and stuff. So they were starting this whole like coffee cart, and so I helped them bring the coffee cart to life. And as I was doing so, I was meeting different directors and producers and actors and actresses were all coming up to me, and I was like, hold up, you know what I'm saying? Like, I remember seeing you on TV. Now you're in front of my face. Like, to me, like, that was very invigorating. And I was like, wow, like, I'm actually here. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know how I got from Sacramento back down to LA. Like, and I would ride my bike to work because I had no car. So I had to run or walk 1.5 miles to work. And it was just like in my head, I'm like, wow, God, like, you literally put my apartment that I live in 1 mile away from my job because I had no car. And then while I'm here, you're just giving me all this energy of like things I love to see and what I want to do. And then just so happened that Ernest Dickerson, he actually did a lot of movies with Spike Lee, Malcolm X.
Okay.
Yeah, he was one of the directors there for a show called Bosch that's on Amazon. Okay. And then Zetna Fuentes, she actually directed one of the episodes on Snowfall. But she was the very first person to come to the coffee car and was like, hey, like, you know, if you want to come see a set, you can come see a set. And I was like, what? I was like, I get off at 4:30. You know what I'm saying? Like, I will be there. So she actually brought me onto the set of Bosch, and I got to sit in her director's chair. All that. I got to sit in the village. I was like around everybody, and I was just over here like, whoa, like, you know what I'm saying?
Starstruck.
Like, it's so, well, not so much starstruck, but just like purpose struck. You know what I'm saying? Like my love, my joy. And I was just like, wow, like this is what it looks like. This is what goes on. You know what I'm saying? And so Ernest Dickerson, he also worked on the show, and he let me come on and shadow him as a director. And I was like, I'm standing behind, you know what I'm saying? Like the guy who helped direct Malcolm X and Boys in Hood, like all those shows, like I'm here instead of watching it on TV. So to me, I felt like that was my most invigorating and exciting moment when I actually was able to see what it was like to put a set together. And then God blessed me with, all of a sudden I started getting all these jobs. Like I applied for background. Now all of a sudden I'm in front of the camera. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But it very much started at Family Community Church in North Highlands in Sacramento. I was going there, and I had told the pastor, God rest his soul, he actually passed on, but Pastor Bill Krause, I told him, I said, I want to be on the camera. Like, you're putting me on a camera, you know what I mean? And he was like, all right, well, he used to call me a celebrity all the time. He'd be like, oh, this is a celebrity. Like, you're going to be in front of the camera one day. And I would never believe him because I didn't know how to get there.
But you don't have to know.
But even just doing background, like, that's still, like, an accomplishment to me at that point. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And so he sat me on a camera, and he was like, first, and this is, I'll never remember, like, forget what he said. He said, first, you need to see what they're seeing. And then your life is going to take on from there. And I was like, I need to see what they're seeing. They need to see me. You know what I mean? No, I'm just joking. But like, I was just like, okay. So that very first time when he put me behind the camera, and I'm just like sitting there and I'm shifting it, and I'm, you know, going back and forth. I think it was a Bible study that night that I was practicing on. And then ever since there, like, it just went on. But before I went to film, I was in radio though. So that was interesting. You know what I mean? And then the transition from there. But I needed to learn the things in radio that I needed to learn because it helps you maneuver better in the film industry.
But like, what did he mean by you have to see what they see? What did he mean by that?
So he's the only one who will ever know what exactly he meant, but I get what he meant because like now I can see, like, it's different. Film and theater are different, right? So in theater, you have to be more, like exaggerating because people are in the audience, they got to see you. A camera lens is this big, right? And you have to fit in that little camera lens and give the people an emotion that you want them to feel. You know what I'm saying? Like, you've watched movies before and you've
Yeah.
noticed like there's tight shots, there's big shots, things like that. But he told me like you have to see the eye of the director in order for you to basically be the best you, because now you know what they're looking for. Because I mean, imagine like you're acting, right? And the director's just like, you know what, this is crap. And they just fire you. You know what I mean? But now that you have a sense of what is going on behind the scenes, you have a better respect for your art. And that's how I took it. So like I've been like a PA, a production assistant before, but they had me doing everything. So I was key PA. I was the PA of like doing like just office work. So that would be like purchase orders, setting up like the crew list and locations and, you know, things like that. And then on top of that, I'm sitting here and I'm helping out the actual talent, you know, making sure that wardrobe was okay and all that kind of stuff. And then even down to like, I wasn't a huge gaffer, but I knew how to do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, so now when I'm on a set and even like working in background, like there's been sets I've been on that production is not nice at all to background. And you can see like it hurt my feelings. You can tell that it hurt other people's feelings in certain situations, you know? So like now I have a better respect of background actors, like you know what I mean, or people who are SAG and who are not SAG. Like there's a union and a non-union, and they're very much treated very different. You know what I'm saying? Like respectfully. So, and just knowing how the whole production goes together means that in the bigger scheme of things down the line, God has a bigger picture, pun intended, for me, that like now I know how to run a set. You know what I'm saying? Like now I know like if the gaffer, or I'm not huge on electrician, but I'm just like giving an example, or the electrician doesn't know X, Y, and Z, I know how to do it. So I can go and do it. You know what I'm saying? Like I learned that actually in radio. Like you have to know everything in case something goes wrong. You know how to fix it, which makes me more marketable, to be honest.
Absolutely, it really does.
Because
it does.
Some people are very set on like, I'm just a producer, and they don't know how to do like taping the floor. You know what I'm saying? Where the talent is. They don't know how to mark, you know, like where the episode or whatever left off. Like they don't understand that. They don't understand like the lux cube on coloring for, you know, they don't. It's me. I'm like, well, I know how to do that.
Right.
So I feel like that's kind of like where he was going with it. Like I needed to see on the back end what's going on, so I know what to do on the front end.
Right. That's like, actually, it's kind of crazy that you was listening to all the little parts you played. It kind of reminds me of where we live. If you think about it, you know how, and it's like the interaction with people. Like let's just say, like you're in school, right? You're in school, and you have different relationships with everybody. Like some of your homeboys, your homegirls, some are just people you're cordial to. You have the super rich class, and you have your preppy kids, and you have your sad kids, and you know how to present yourself for each different personality. You know what I'm saying? That makes any sense? And working in the out there in California, working in the studio or whatever, the front, the back, and doing it. So you knew how to work in every different group. So it's like it all kind of all comes together. See, I never been to Cali. I never worked on films and stuff. So that's the way my mind works. So I can understand it better. Okay, so now you did all of that experience. Do you think, well, it more than prepared you for here? Did you think that when you left California that all hope was lost? Like you're here with all of these famous producers and people you look up to, and you're learning so much. Then you come back here where it's quiet and there's nothing going on, but stuff is moving for you, but you didn't see it at that time. But at that moment, did you feel like this is
done? Yeah.
done?
Yes. It was done. It was done for me. I remember like, you know, me and my dad, we road tripped from California back to New York. I don't know if you're talking to me. I just can't
Yeah.
hear you.
No, I got some tea.
Oh, I don't know. It's replaying what you just said.
Oh,
That's
yeah. Like, what's going on? I don't
I
know.
don't know.
What in the world? But can you hear me in now time? I don't know what's going on.
I can hear you in now time. I just didn't know if you were talking to me. I didn't want to be rude because
Yeah,
I'm
I
like,
don't know. I don't know what just what God dog it. And that's an ugly freeze. Okay. Keep going. Let's just keep going. You know,
okay.
things happen.
So yeah, I was my dad came to California and he picked me up and we road tripped back here to New York with all my stuff. And you know, that was a time where I should have been enjoying like my dad and our quality time and just traveling. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. We're
So
totally frozen. I don't know what's going on, but let's just keep going.
okay. And I was really sad. I remember as soon as we got from the border from California into Arizona, I was like already like checked out, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I was about to have a baby. I didn't know, like, you know, this industry is not easy when you have kids. So respect everybody who has kids in this industry because, you know, you have long days, long nights, a lot of pressure.
Right.
And I just was like, what's in New York? There's nothing there in New York for me. You know what I'm saying? And
Right.
then to be completely honest with you, I have to give credit to Kenny right now because Kenny, we had the conversation one night. I was like crying, bawling my eyes out. And he was just like, yo, like take what you did out there and apply it here. And I was just looked at him like, this is not what I want to hear because
I
there's
know.
no
Sometimes
way
you
for
just
me
seem
to like,
so hard, but it
huh?
makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and I was just like, you know, broken. Like, I don't think I can do that. Like, I don't know where to start, what to do, none of that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just remember, like, you know, I'm a part of an organization called Women in Media, and
Okay.
somebody in June of 2021, they reached out to me and they're like, hey, like you know, you were referred to us. We saw your profile on Women in Media. I'm wondering like if you want to work, da 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 da. And I was like, what? Of course. And then one of my friends who works for Nickelodeon, he sent me this whole casting thing
We're
about
back.
this woman was casting for pregnant women to be a part of her short film called The
Mm-hmm.
Unborn. And I submitted whatever for it. I did my like little video and all that stuff, and they hit me back and they're like, hey, like, you know, I played it off like I was in Cali because it was just like I didn't want to lose my opportunities, but I knew that I was just a flight away. So I was just like, yeah, I'll be there. And I just ended up and I booked 2 flights out to California, one for the end of August. I was 3 weeks before about to have Shiloh and I was working on set like nobody's business, you know what I'm saying? Like doing 12-hour shifts and it was hard, but you know what? Like I thought it was dope. Like for even women in general, like there's nothing can stop us, not even a pregnancy. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like we still can move forward. We still are strong enough to do what we want to do. And
Absolutely.
to have the privilege of Shiloh even on set and she didn't even know she was on set. You know what I mean? Like
She's
she's
a
in a
movie
movie and she
star.
didn't even know she was in a movie. She worked on a movie and she didn't even know that she worked on a movie. You know what I mean? Like those are
Right.
like things that I think is precious to me. But in lieu of what Kenny said, that actually helped me because it helped me make the decision to go or not. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, why would I be stopped? You know, like I've had people say to me, oh, well, now you have to put your dreams on hold or you can't do this or you can't do that. You can't do that. And I was just like, watch me. You know what I mean? Like when people tell me I can't do something, I'm like kind of like the person like, all right, let me do it. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Movie
To see if
wrong.
I can, if it's even
Right.
worth my time. But I felt like God gave me those opportunities to remember
Mm-hmm.
my gift, you know what I'm saying? And my purpose, even though it didn't go according to my plan. Because
Right.
my plan was like, I'm out in Cali, I'm doing my thing, you know what I mean? And then it was just like, no, you're not. No, I'm kidding. But it was just
You're
like,
so
you know, but I
animated.
came back home and honestly, it was the best thing that I could do because I was actually around people who loved me,
Right.
you know what I'm saying, who cared, who still care.
Right.
I was able to get back on my feet. You know what I'm saying? I've been living in my apartment now for a year. Uh, I have a car. My daughter is smart. She, has food in her fridge. She has food in her stomach. She has diapers. Like, and shout out to Sharon and the YIT Foundation, you know what I'm saying, for helping mothers, like single moms, because I am a single mother. Her organization, they've been there for me like nobody's business. And I'm very grateful for that. But it's just, like I came home and then home came home. If that makes sense. And then it was easier for me to be like, okay. And, I started getting casted for gigs again, like the End Game and, Law and Order, like, things like that. And so it kind of reminded me like, Erinn, don't forget, he keeps giving me these small little gems. He's like, you're still a mom, but like, here you go. You know what I mean? Like,
shout out to Kenny the barber. That's my son. He's a rough dude, but he is.
Yeah,
it's not that he's.
And Jason too. Jason calls himself a philosopher. Jason got some gems because he also put little worms in my ear. You know what I mean? Because those are my peoples. Like we grew up together. Yeah. So like they know me from front to back, up, down. You know what I mean? Yeah. They've been there with me through a lot of trials and tribulations. And so yeah, like their words of wisdom honestly like reflect in how I act sometimes because it puts me back in my place. Because I'm so spiritual, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I need people who are logical and rational sometimes to be like, hold up, and they do it for me. So yeah.
Shout out to my fellas. I'm not gonna hit that thing because my fellas, I did well. And you're doing good. You're doing good because like, yeah, it takes a strong person to leave the limelight like that, to have to leave the limelight like that, right? To come back and just push forward and doing it marvelously, might I add.
Thank you.
You're doing a good job. This play, how did you hear about the Shakes? Because I saw your post about it. I was like, what? When you had
Shiloh. Yeah, it's not even a Shakespeare word, but I had nothing else to say. I was like, let me just throw this in there.
So how did that come about?
So that came about because I was in the play In the Heights as Daniela, the hair salon owner.
Okay.
At Sullivan last semester. So I took a theater class. And I was taking singing lessons randomly, and they ended up having auditions for a musical. Uh-huh. And so I just showed up to the audition and I just did my thing and I ended up getting casted as one of the main roles. And then they had another small intricate play that actually just got done last week. But before that, the director, Jess, she had said, she's like, hey, there's Shakespeare. And in my head, I was like, that would be cool, but I don't know how well I would do with Shakespeare. You know what I mean? I don't really
talk.
Yeah, but just in general, I was like, do I have that Shakespeare? I don't know. But yeah, so I had seen her. No, I had hit her up for the play that we were doing now. I mean, that she just got over, and I asked her if she needed help, and she needed help with makeup at the time. But then we had those storms, so I wasn't able to do it. And then I was like, wait, I know that there's another audition for something. And then sure enough, I got in my email, we're auditioning for the 12th night on such and such day. And I was like, oh my God, that's tomorrow. But I just went to audition. Me and Shy had her chucking all the way. I was like, we're going to say whatever we got to say. Because it was a cold reading. It wasn't like I can come in there with my own monologue. So I was like, they're going to give me something. Jess is probably going to laugh because I probably don't know what I'm doing. You know what I mean? She's a really good person, her and Nick. And I don't know. I ended up I auditioned for two spots. I primarily originally wanted Maria because she's kind of funny. You know what I mean? I was a little too nervous to go for the head honcho, which is Olivia, which I actually ended up getting. And
congratulations again.
It's based mostly on her. Because honestly, I didn't see that I was good enough to be that part, a lead yet.
But it's your purpose.
Yeah, and then God was like, nah, you're Olivia. You know what I'm saying? When I went to Maria, but I mean, I'm with it. I'm excited to learn a different way of acting. You know what I'm saying? There's a difference between musical, contemporary, And so I'm excited for it.
Well, I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you memorize all them lines. You see, I had a problem with my no, you got there late when I did my little part. I had so much difficulty. I was like, this is not for me.
Well, you did like terrific though.
Huh?
Like if you actually watch yourself on film, like you have a lot of personality. Like
It's the personality.
excel.
Well,
You
it's
know?
easy for me to play a mom. I was playing a mother, so to a son. So that's super easy. Like that's just treat him like so I don't know. But no, I am extra. So that's probably that's probably that's probably it. But yeah, that's not for me. I know that's not my purpose. That's not my calling. I no.
I think you did well though.
Yeah, it was fun. I was pleasantly surprised because when she was like, I'm getting ready to post it, I was like, no. I was like, cut me out. Just take my part, take my part all the way out. Because I didn't see it. I hadn't seen it yet. So I was like, well, okay, Bunk. All right. You did all right. It's not for you, but you did okay. You got a taste of it. It can go on your resume. I can put it on my resume, you know.
That's true.
So, you know, like I don't know. So where do you see I mean, you have a purpose. Everything is lining up. Everything is slowly lining up. What do you see for yourself? That because you said you were taking singing classes.
I did. I mean I stopped taking them in November of last year. I felt like it was over with. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, I'm saying she taught me how to sing. Never sang in my life. I'm not saying I'm like Whitney Houston, you know what I'm saying? But like she taught me notes, she taught me the basics of it. And then, you know, obviously when I got the part, I was able to like break out of my shell a little bit more and just play around with things and look at everybody else like how did they react to that? How, you know what I mean? Like was it whack? Was it good? Am I off tune? Am I in tune? Like, you know, I was able to practice. It was practice.
Okay.
So I didn't feel the need. I felt like God was like, okay, I'm done with that. Like I had you start that in June randomly. I was like, I'm going to take singing lessons. Like I just had it on my heart. And then come August, I'm all of a sudden enrolled in school. Shout out to Miss Ferreira, but she's Miss Van Dyke now. And she told me like, you need to go back to school. And so I just signed up for school. And then I was like, oh, there's a theater program. You know what I mean? And then it just all worked out.
Lining up.
Mm-hmm. But where I see myself, you're asking?
Yeah.
Like, in the future or?
Because you also mentioned about writing. So you got a lot. You got a lot. So you're the whole package. You're the whole package.
I mean, like, no, but no, but I kind of am. Like, I'm still growing, you know what I'm saying? Like, into all that, which is dope because I'm excited for myself as a woman and as like a creator. It's very hard to be a creative. You're creative, even though you might not think about it, but like imagine how sometimes I'm sure you sit down about your show and you get frustrated. You're like, I don't know what to write or who I want to interview or you know what I mean? So like when you're creative, like your mind goes all these different ways, like all the time. I'm not fit for a cubicle. Like I'm not. Like I might have those jobs in the intern, but like that's not who I am, you know? And writing is a love that I actually found like compassion for just actually like more so recently. Because I was scared of it in high school. I was scared of it in earlier college years. Mm-hmm. But then I always found myself like, oh, I want to do a travel blog or like when I write captions or when I write like whatever free write, I like to write.
Right.
And I like to tell stories. Like just like I used to like let people who were homeless on my docu-series called Who Are You? The Forgotten People of the World. Oh. I like to share their stories of how they became homeless or who they were or are as a person. Right. You know what I'm saying? So for me, I was like, wow, like I should just write something. And I wrote last semester, I did a zine. and that's the new like magazine without like being published as like a magazine. And I wrote columns in it. And when I did that, my professor, she wrote me back and she was just like, Erinn, like, this is amazing. You know what I'm saying? Like, you should keep doing this, or like, you should do this, X, Y, and Z. And I was like, that's funny because I've been writing a memoir about my life for some time now. And I want to take some of these stories and actually put them into film, you know, especially, I'll never stop talking about it, but my experience with me and Shannon, like road tripping, you know what I mean? I think that that would be such a fire movie one day, and very touching and loving, you know what I mean? So I have those, but I think that it's fun, you know?
Yeah. Girl, you got so much going on. You got, okay. So do we have a launch date for gifted apparel?
I've had so many. I talk to my business partners and they're just like, you know, stop focusing on that. Like, well, actually not business partner, but mentors. The box is all the way over there. I don't feel like going to get it.
I was going to ask you, do you have anything anybody could buy? Do you have any?
I'm about to.
Okay.
So
Does it say gifted across it? What? Well, I'm asking for myself because I want to.
Yeah. So like I have ones that are going to have my actual logo symbol, and then I'm going to have ones that actually say gifted on it. I mean, I don't like huge text, so you probably won't catch mine ever with like a huge text that says like gifted.
Is it gonna be little?
It might be little, it might be, I don't know. I like to play around. I like to draw it up and then manifest it, you know? But the ones that I have now, my ideas for that now, they might have like gifted along like the sleeve, you know what I'm saying? Like, or I don't know, I don't want to give too much away, but because I kind of want to be excited and be like, this is what I give away, you know? But I don't have a date. I don't have that. I just have like, all right, I have my finished product because I have a bunch of samples from different times that I did this, you know what I'm saying? And how I want it to look. But, you know, in business and especially with clothing, like you run into like bumps and hurdles all the time, because then one manufacturer wants to charge you X, Y, and Z money, and then this person wants to work on it and then they back out. Like, you know, that's what I've been running into. So now I'm just kind of like, hey, I have product and I just want to see people wear it. And then once I see people wearing it and they actually enjoy wearing it or want to wear it, then I think I'm gonna like do like a bigger launch.
Well, can you send me pictures? Yeah. For myself, at least, you know.
I'll
wear it.
Thank you.
Are they hoodies?
They are.
No, I love a hoodie. Yeah, I love a big hoodie. Okay. Yeah, definitely. Send me pictures.
Got you.
Send me pictures. I'll get something from you.
Thank you.
I'll look out support. I like to do that, you know. Okay, we have 5 minutes.
Okay.
We have 5 minutes. And like I told you, I was going to give you the time to talk about whatever you wanted to talk about, to announce, shout out, like what?
Well, like I said before, I did want to shout out, you know, Sharon, the YIT Foundation. It's YIT. I definitely just want to give a shout out to like friends and family who actually still, you know, believe in me, still like support me, still, you know, beat it in my head that EG, like you're bigger than how I see myself sometime.
Right.
I definitely want to, you know, give a shout out to, you know, God for always like holding me down, surprising me with things that I prayed for and they just pop up, or, you know,
when you do it.
But I kind of more so, I mean, I would promote my brand, you know, gifted apparel, but I don't even want to say like it's going to start on this date, it's going to be on that, but it's pretty cool. Like, I really want to see it go far. You know, when the time is right, I think it's going to actually really blossom into something that
it will.
Amazing. But I also just, you know, want to just touch base on like the purpose over plan. I think that was more so like why I'm supposed to be here, as like an inspiration to people, because as you know, like you know, I grew up with you too, basically. You know, like you've seen and been there through times in my life where not a lot of people seen that side of Erinn. But my plans are always like X, Y, and Z, and then they go like K. What goes after K? Is it KL? K? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Elemental P. And so it's just like I want people to know that even though you have this written out plan, sometimes like you have to get rid of it. And the easiest way I can give an example for that is like, I know like many women are probably going to watch this, but like we've all had birth plans. And I remember in the beginning, like people would say, yeah, just burn your birth plan. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not going to go how you want. And I know that doesn't really relate to men because, you know, they've never given birth, but like you have that all written out. And then God's like, he puts you exactly where you need to be in order for you to give birth. Right. And around the people who he needs, the correct doctors and, you know what I mean, nurses, this, that, and the third. Like it's never how you want. And I just feel like people should just keep pushing forward. Because your purpose, don't ever forget what it is. And if you don't know what it is, like try and figure it out, which I still do every single day.
Me too.
And I think overall just being a good human being, especially in the times that we're in, because it's a lot of things are being revealed to us. I believe a lot of evil is being revealed to us.
Oh, yeah.
And to be a good person in this society right now is more cherishable than anything, you know, and know that if your purpose is to actually be a good person, just be a good person, but like really like,
no, that's true. That could be your purpose.
Plan.
Right.
Because I was homeless like for 13 months. You know what I'm saying? Like, why am I homeless? I used to ask God that all the time. Like, but it ended up, you know, humbling me and giving me humility and making me appreciate my money, better at saving, doing like all these things. You know what I'm saying? Like I had to be brought to the lowest part. A lot of people don't know that. Like I was sleeping in my car and I even got robbed outside of the radio station. Somebody threw a boulder through my damn, you know, thing and took my whole like purse, everything. Like imagine just having nothing but like the clothes on your back. I used to brush my teeth, wash my face in the bathroom at the radio station. You know, I used to be there until like 1 a.m. because it was like, damn, I ain't really got nowhere to go. And then I would wake up and I would go to the gym, shower, and go to my 9 to 5 just to get off work to go. Like, there's just so much different ways to get to where you have to be. And there's so many different lessons that are geared and shaped specifically for you. And that's what the purpose over the plan is, you know?
Wow, I didn't know that. Look at that. It all puts you where you're supposed to be right now and where you're going. Ooh, get ready to project all the way out there. You get ready to... Well, you know what, Miss? Absolutely. I'm proud of you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
On everything that you have done, are doing, and for walking in your purpose and being open to it. So, you know, you're an example. You're an example.
And I'm very transparent about it. You know what I mean? I feel like a lot of people try to hide who they are.
Yeah.
And I guess they have their reasonings, but like for me, I feel like I'm very transparent and I have to be because there's people out there who need an example, who know that they're not alone. You know what I mean? Like, hey, I went through that, but it feels like nobody else is going through it. That's why I'm so transparent with everything, is because there's somebody listening out there who is probably homeless or is homeless and could be like, hey, or had a baby and they're a single mom and they have all these dreams that they think that they can't do. Like, you can still do it.
Yeah, a baby don't stop the show. It doesn't. It just pauses it for a little bit. It's just a little pause, like a little hiccup, a little pause. Then you keep going. Like, that's what I hate when I hear people say, oh, I can't do that because I got a baby. Yo, stop. Get over it. Get over it. So, you know, but
thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming on. Yeah, it's 8:01. So remember tonight, if you download Zeno FM, you know you worked in the radio, so totally different sound. And when we paused and got messed up and continue going, it will continue going. You won't hear that hiccup on the radio tonight. I'm on the tattoo shop LLR Ohio, Sasquatch Boot Hill Radio, Cuzzo FM. That's all on Zeno FM tonight at 9 p.m. And tomorrow morning, if you miss it at 8:30, I'm on WAP the Music FM, Culture Shock Radio, Southern Soul Gold Radio, and this is global. So it's in Canada, it's in Ohio, it's in Guadalupe. Um, so
Ooh,
it's
Guadalupe.
hello.
Dope.
It's all yeah. So we're tea time is everywhere. So everybody's gonna hear your story. Everybody's gonna hear your story. So I appreciate you. So you're an encouragement to some woman over anywhere. And plus, when you're live on YouTube and stuff, people from all over see it and hear it. So thank you for being that example.
Yeah,
I appreciate you.
having me. Shout out to you, because that's cool. Like, that's dope. I bet you never even thought that you'd be on all these platforms.
Who would have thought? Not me. You seen me. You seen my life being around Kenny and Jay. So you saw, yeah.
Yo, shout out to Ro. Ro's cool too.
Oh, yes. Shout out. Yeah, Ro is more laid back.
Congratulations on the baby, Ro.
Yeah, he's probably like, why they mention my name? He's so mean sometimes.
Nah, Ro's cool.
That's my baby. That's my baby. I love them all. I love them all. They're all different. So, all right. You guys have a great rest of your night. Next week, I have Malachi on, who goes by Malaysia. Malachi is transitioning. So he will be on next week. This is going to be a great story. I know there's going to be some people on there that's just going to have so much to say. But whatever, it's Tea Time with Bunky, the place where all conversations are had, and I do what I want to do. So,
yeah.
So you guys have a great rest of your night, and make sure you tune in, tell a friend, and tell a friend. Like, share, follow, and subscribe. And be safe out there. Remember, pray for your friend, your enemy, just the world, because like people are going through things, like you was going through things that people don't even know about. Like people are really sad right now. So let's just go out there and be friendly, be kind, be supporters of one another. So you all have a great night.